Okay, well, hello and welcome everybody to this webinar this morning. So my name's Neil Sinclair. I'd like to welcome you to this Small Business Mastermind Group Business Heroes webinar class today, sponsored by Infusionsoft. Now, just to do a quick plug for Infusionsoft there, they've provided us with a lot of the material that you've already received, the worksheets you should have for the webinar today, as well as some of the slides we've got here also. So thank you to them for that. You don't have to be an Infusionsoft user to get benefit from this today. We're going to obviously talk about small business success principles. My name's Neil Sinclair. I'm the founder and chairman of Liverbun, Liberators of Abundance. And let's just get on with the subject today, shall we? First of all, the subject today is about personal branding. So how to be the hero of your own business. Okay, and there's no better way for me to explain that really than to tell you a little bit about my brand. You can see the Liverbun brand logo down there on the bottom left-hand corner. You see underneath that, it says Liberators of Abundance. So Liverbun is an abbreviation for that. And look, I come up with the concept. I did 18.5 years service with the Royal New Zealand Air Force. And let's face it, look, any military organisation gets deployed overseas, they're not going to the Olympic Games, are they? They're going because someone's being pretty damn nasty to somebody else, or there's been some form of disaster somewhere where people need our help. Now, look, the main role for the military in any situation really is to bring stability to the area as quickly as possible to allow normal commerce to resume. And if you think about that, it dawned on me through that experience that how important small businesses are to every economy. It doesn't really matter what country you're in, what race or creed they are, it's, what religion they are. I mean, every country needs to have thriving small businesses to provide goods and services, to provide jobs to their local community, to provide taxes to their whatever form of government they have there, some form of tax as well. So it's extremely important for small businesses to, operate and thrive and do well. Now, one of the things the military is particularly good at is what they call SOPs, or standard operating procedures. So now that is systems, really, small business systems. And one of the things small businesses are typically very poor at, or normally suck at, is actually putting in good, robust SOPs or business systems into their business. So there's a lot of benefit there from my background, as well as my commerce degree that I got to help small businesses. And I've been doing this now since 2001, literally helped hundreds of businesses both here and in the UK, in New Zealand and in the UK, and been associated with thousands of small businesses, because when I was in the UK, and I'd now travel between New Zealand and the UK annually, and I was part of a global business coaching franchise for about 13 years, and, we literally helped thousands of small businesses change the way they operate business. So let's just get on with the subject for today, shall we? Look, before we start that though, I want to really set a solid foundation with some generalized transformational principles. Now, look, as I said, I'm a business coach and trainer, and I really do want you to get the most from today. So in order to do that, I just want us I want you to buy into some of these generalized principles that we talk about. The first one is the only failure is the failure to participate. I want you to give it 100%. Okay, today. So I want you to participate. You can ask any questions you like in the chat box on the left-hand side, and I will endeavour to answer them. I've got quite a few slides to cover off today. If I don't get to answer them today, I will. If you're watching the recording of this, okay, in other words, you're watching the replay of this, then I will actually, if you type a question in the box, I will get emailed that question, and I promise to respond to your question on a particular thing about your branding. So don't just feel as though you can't participate directly if you're seeing the replay or the recording of this workshop today. So look, 100% participation, what does that mean? Well, look, if you lay on the couch and do nothing and you don't participate, what do you actually learn? You never learn anything, do you? Now, when you're out there proactively growing your business, you're going to have one or two things happen. You're either going to achieve the things you want to achieve, or you're going to get some learnings out of it. Now, even if you don't achieve what you want to achieve, there's always a learning there if you're open to taking the learning. So that's what we mean by the only failure is the failure to participate, because you're always going to get something out of it whenever we're doing this. The next slide here is a slide we call above and below the line. Now, this is a generalized principle that's taught by a great course called Money and You. It's above and below the line. So, look, people who are below the line, they are reactive. They, blame the government, blame other people, blame something, come up with excuses why things aren't done. They're in denial about the situation possibly. They're quite artificial, and they're generally playing a victim mentality. Okay, so you're, as it says there, the reactive warrior. Now look, those situations there when we're below the line, you're not in any form of control. It's really quite stressful for you because we don't like being there. But as human beings, we all go there. We all have our own pity parties at times. We all dive below the line, but we don't really achieve anything meaningful while we're down there. So, you know, what we really want to do is we want to be above the lines where we are proactive with what we're doing in life. We take ownership for what's happening in our life. Okay, it might not be our fault for what's happening in our life, but we're responsible. In other words, we're response-able. Okay, so we're able to choose our response to everything that happens to us in our lives. Okay, we're also accountable. We can make ourselves accountable to get things done and do things. We want to be authentic. Okay, so being above the line is being authentic, being real. You're going to hear me talk about that more today because it's such an important thing about your branding. You know, you've got to be authentic. You know, sure, copy things that successful people have done and learn from them, but don't try and be them. Use the things they've done or the systems they've used or the methodologies they've used, but be you and applying them. And then you're going to find that you're being above the line. It's a less stressful situation. And, you know, you've also got the victor mentality, not the victim mentality. So, now, look, when you're above the line like that, you're in control, it's lower stress, and you're feeling on purpose and you're feeling good. Okay, so now that's where we want to be. So is it okay today when I'm covering things off that I ask you to remain above the line? You know, if there's stuff we're talking about here today with the branding that you're not doing, okay, I want you to actually, you know, take ownership and look for ways to change that with some of the strategies and options we give you today during this workshop. Okay, so what I'll always expect from you is open and honest communication. Now, look, whether you participate with me on the webinar today or send me questions via email if you're watching the recording, that's up to you. But what I do expect you to do is be open and honest with yourself, because if you're not, if you're below the line and being in denial about your current situation in the business, those sort of things, well, that's just self-sabotage for you. And if you've got a family who's relying on you being successful in your business, it's not fair on them either. So please, let's have at least open and honest communication with ourselves while we're going through these exercises today. Now, what you can expect from my training and the advice that I give out people is a common sense approach that's not always common practice. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, look, let me talk to you. Let me give you, a few examples of what I would call a common sense approach to business. Because we hear a lot of people say business is common sense. Well, is it really? Okay, so as an example, conducting a monthly profit and loss in your business is a common sense approach to business. Knowing where your break even is in your business is a common sense approach to your business. Measuring your leads and where they're coming from and your conversion rate per lead source to client, I would argue, is a common sense approach to business. So look, I've just given you a number of different scenarios there, but I can guarantee you for almost everyone on this webinar today, those three things I said aren't common practice in your business. Now, you might be doing one of them, but I doubt whether you're doing all three of them. Why do I say that? Because when I've gone and seen literally hundreds of businesses now over the last 15, 16 years, I've no one, when I've gone to see them, are doing all those things when I first started with them as a business coach. Okay, so I'm quite confident in saying that, and I know you can have a bit of a giggle, and it is a dull moment, it's a Homer Simpson moment, but look, you can fix this, you can take control, be above the line, and start putting some of these things in place over time. So that's what I mean by common sense approach is not always common practice. Okay, this is, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Warren Buffett. Hopefully you know who he is. He's one of the world's richest people. He's also the owner and chairman of a great company called Berkshire Hathaway. They're an investment company. What they do is they buy and invest in businesses and help them grow. Okay, so now look, the reason why I love Mr. Buffett is that because of his results. Now he, as an example, for the last 27 years, he has averaged about 26% return on the company's investment year in and year out for the last 27 years. Now, that is almost 3 times higher than the results on the stock market each year. So, now look, if you wanted to buy an A-class share for Berkshire Hathaway, they're over $200,000 per share. Okay, so this is how fantastic they are. And he says it very well. Look, it's not necessary to do extraordinary things to get extraordinary results. And what he's talking about there is that all you've got to do is you've got to have systematic consistency in what we do. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this slide today is because one of the things I want you to pick up on today is I want you to look at where you're being systematically consistent with your branding. Because look, your branding is either growing, your reputation is either growing or it's dying. Now, and you want to be enhancing your brand hopefully all the time, because it's, we work very hard to build a brand, but as we all know, how easy is it to actually lose a bit of reputation or to lose trust in people? That damages your brand when you lose trust. So it's very easy to damage your branding, but it's a lot of work to build it up, but it doesn't have to be that way. If you have systematic consistency and put in some regular systems in place, you can consistently build your brand on a daily basis. Okay, so let's move on to the branding exercises. So look, I want you to think of one of your favorite brands. Okay, so I'll just bring a favorite brand to mind. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay, what is the main benefit it promises and delivers to you? Just think about it. What is the main benefit that brand you're thinking of promises and delivers to you? So, I did a live workshop with some people just day before yesterday, and a number of people in there mentioned Coca-Cola. Now, they're very good with their branding. They're very good with their advertising. But what does Coca-Cola promise you and deliver to you? If you think about that now, I'm talking not just the features, but I'm also thinking about what's the benefits. What's the emotional benefit it delivers to you? Do you know what Coca-Cola's purpose is, or their mission? It's only 3 words actually, and it's actually within arm's reach. Now, does that mean they want to have within arm's reach sugary drinks for the next 100 years? No, it doesn't. You've seen Coca-Cola change their recipes and their Coca-Cola, over the years as society has changed and technology has changed. I'm sure Coca-Cola does not want to service up unhealthy drinks. Okay, but we also have some responsibility to only drink a certain amount of that. Now, but their mission is to be within arm's reach. They want to be a brand that's around for many decades, and they're doing their bit to change their product so that it gets more healthy as we learn things there. So just think about the brand you're thinking of and its main benefits to you. Do you think that the big brands, or any brands you're thinking of, intentionally work on their brand? Now, in the case of Coca-Cola, that's a definite yes. Okay, but look, do you have to be a big brand to work on your brand? Just think about that. The answer to that is definitely no. No, you need to be, as a small business, you have a brand now. Whether you're proactively working on it or not is another question. But if you're not proactively working on building your brand and protecting your brand and working on that brand, and you're just leaving it to the environment, then the environment will show people your brand through a lack of inconsistency, and that is probably not a brand you want to own. Okay, so you certainly need to be taking ownership on how to work on that. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So do you feel you have a personal brand? And if so, how would you define it? So look, you do have a personal brand. Let's take ownership and be above the line here for a minute. And I want you to define your personal brand the way it is at the moment. It doesn't matter whether you feel proud of your brand or the way you've been portraying it at the moment, but how would you currently define it? Now, if you don't know this, after the exercises today on the webinar, I want you to ask a few people you can trust for honest feedback about what they perceive about your personal brand. There's a little tip there for you. So, you go and ask some other people and get their perceptions of things. So be interested to see what your perception is of your brand versus what other people's perceptions are of your brand. And these are people that you know. And, you might ask people in your family or some friends, ask some customers that you trust. Okay, so ask some customers that you trust for some honest feedback around how they see your brand in that regards. Look, here's a little bit of a hint here. Your brand, by the way, let's talk about this in a bit more detail. Now, it is you. As a small business owner, it is you. Even if you've got a team, it's mainly about you and what you do. It's how you speak with people. It's how you show up, how you look, what you do, as well as your team for that matter. But, a lot of people recognize you as the owner. I'm not saying you personally are the brand, because the company's the brand. And we want to make sure we have the right culture and the right actions. It's so much more than just imagery. Okay, it's actions and a range of other things. So as I've said here on the bottom of this the slide here, it's way more than just a logo, a website, imagery, and marketing materials. It's all about our actions or a lack of actions. I mean, those two also build a picture. Okay, and those things define your brand. Now, for me, with my Liberbarn brand, because I'm a liberator of abundance, I expect and I require myself to have an abundant attitude. Okay, that's what, liberative abundance. So I've got to have an abundant attitude. I work in competition with my competitors. As a business coach, I believe there are not enough good business coaches out there, and people need to learn how to do it properly. So small businesses need our help. So, what's your brand mean to you? And I mean about giving 100%, as an example, everything I commit to has got to be 100% there. It's just me being congruent with what I do. As a business coach, is what I expect and what I do. So what about you? What's your brand? You need to look to define that. Okay, so what do you do, if anything, to intentionally work on it or improve your brand? Now, just ask yourself, what have you done? Well, for a starter, pat on the back for being on the webinar. Okay, so that's one thing you're doing. So you're looking at ways of improving your brand. But, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to, at the very minimum, enhance your awareness about ways of improving your brand to empower you to actually do something about it. Now, knowledge, you've heard people say knowledge is power. Knowledge isn't power, okay? The application of knowledge is power. Knowledge is just empowerment, okay? So you've got to be able to apply this knowledge. You've got to do something. You do the homework from the slides today that I'm going to give you to actually create some real change and help develop your brand better in the future. Now, look, if you're not intentionally working on your personal brand at the moment, why not? I want you just to be above the line and ask yourself and own up why you're not doing that. Is it just something you're not thinking about? Is it something you're not planning for? Or is it something you haven't really been aware of? Now, what is it for you? And again, I'd love you to type something in the chat box while you're watching the video so that you can tell me those things. And if you end up watching the recording, I will reply to you on that. So I'd like to know what you're doing about your own brand. Okay, in what ways do you think having a clearer personal brand might help you in your business? Okay, do you think it can help, develop more leads? Absolutely. Do you think it might actually help you get more sales? In other words, enhance your conversion rate? Yes, it can do that too. What about enhancing your customer services? So getting your customers buying more and getting them to refer more business to you and giving you great testimonials and things like that. Is that part of your brand? Absolutely it is. Now, there's a lot of things you can do as far as having a clearer personal brand that might help you. And not only that, but also not just a clearer personal brand, but the systematic approach to that branding will definitely help you, because with more systematic consistency, you get systematic results. So let's help define this a little bit further. So look, what I want you to do is, you would have been emailed your My Heroes worksheet exercise. Okay, so on this My Heroes worksheet exercise, if you have a look down the left-hand side, there's a fields there. So you've got literature, TV or film, history, sports, business, music, and there's a number of rows there for other. So now what I want you to do is I want you to try and put in a person you admire, a hero's name in each of those different fields. And look, if you can't think of any under the literature, TV, film, history, sports, business or music, then just put them in the other. We'll cross out that field title and put in whatever it is you're thinking of. And look, by the way, these people you're thinking of in column A, they can be dead or alive, they can be real or imaginary, or they can be famous or not famous. So look, if you like Donald Duck as an example, then put down Donald Duck in there, and what is the quality or trait that you like about Donald Duck? So that's the exercise you want to do. So start working through that worksheet, and you're doing that. And look, once you've done it, this is going to be your own list or your own personal Hall of Fame. So of the people that you admire and identifying the traits that you admire about them. In column B, we want you to also describe those traits, which I've mentioned to you. So please do bring up the traits and put them in column B. Now, look, if you're watching a recording of this, you can stop the video here and actually fill this form out, get it filled out, and then start the video again and continue on. I'm going to continue on with the webinar now, team, just on this. Right, so look, let's see what we notice about these lists. So as an example, now, do these personal qualities feel a bit aspirational for you? And clearly they do, because you admire them. Okay, so, the reason why I'm asking you that question is to make the link to, remember I said earlier in the webinar about, using what other people have done, use people who inspire you and motivate you. You want to be doing things that they've done. What are the traits about them that you admire? Because that fires you up about your business and it helps you feel better about what you're doing in business. It helps you be more authentic about the way you are in business, and therefore helps you with your branding in your business. So it's very important, Have any of these qualities been sources of the best moments of your life or some of your worst so far? And that's often true. Well, it is true in some way, shape or form for everyone that is on the webinar, if you're watching this. And look, you may feel that one or more of these adjectives makes you undesirable. So what I mean by that is remember that as long as you're real, there's nothing there that people won't buy. So look, there are people out there who have a bad reputation but are actually quite famous. Now, and yet they still attract many people towards their political view or, their business side of things or the way they do things. So, look, the thing we're pointing out here is that we want you to take these traits and dare to be different but always be you. Okay, so, look, you want to do the things that are important to you, and it's very important to do this, to define your brand, because now, when you're out there developing your brand, you want to do things that are inspirational and aspirational for you, but are also natural for you as well. And what I mean by that, in other words, they are things that you want to aspire to. Now, you may not necessarily be good at them yet or at the moment, okay? So, but you can learn how to become good at these with time and with practice, and it'll inspire you and it'll be you as well. So you'll be authentic while you're doing this. So let's go through and refine your personal brand a little bit more and see what I mean by this. So look, once you've done your page list and you've listed those heroes down, their quality and the traits, what I want to do now is that I want you, from your listed qualities, choose 3 that best reflect you. Choose 3 that best reflect you. Okay, so just put a circle around those, identify which ones they are. And the reason why we're doing this is because we're going to simplify it a little bit for the purpose of the exercise today, so that after you finish the webinar, you can go away and do this in a bit more detail, okay? Because we can't possibly cover it all off inside an hour or 90 minutes today. Right, when you've got that down to 3, what I want you to do is now I want you to choose one, which this is your primary brand promise. Okay, just choose one. You can incorporate others later on. We're going to choose one. We're going to use that as your primary brand promise and build some things out from there. So we use that as an example. So just choose one, and we're going to continue with the rest of the exercise. Right, so that one brand promise you've got, whatever the trait is you've got there. So, I want you to use that to be included in here's a number of different examples here for you to consider, things that you want to be working on after the webinar today. So, use that brand promise to, write your compelling story. So what is the compelling story about your business? Where you're focusing on the quality and the traits, that one brand promise at the moment. How do you include that in your business story? How do you put that across to people? Okay. So, look, you also want to create a list of core values. Now, look, your core values, identifying your core values. When I first started doing coaching, I came from the military. I thought, well, the core values, they're a bit fluffy, really. Well, no, they're not, because look, the military has core values. Loyalty, integrity. You're literally standing shoulder to shoulder with your brethren, and you're putting your life in their hands in a military situation. You've got to have a set of values. Even to be part of that team, you've got to do depending on what military you're in, anything from a 12 to 16 week basic course, recruit course, in order to qualify to get actually in the team. Now, imagine if your recruiting process required, employees to go through a 10 to 16 week induction course into your business before they even joined. Now, some of the big corporates do that, but none of the small businesses do that, as an example. And look, your core values, here's the main reason why they're important for you as a small business. I want you to think back to an example in your business where you've done things where, something's happened in your business and you just haven't felt good about it. And it just doesn't sit right with you, and you're struggling to put your finger on why that's not right with you at the moment, and what to do about it. And the reason why you're feeling that way is because something that has happened there that's not in alignment with your core values. Now, and what I tell people is that you want to have up to sort of 12 core values in your business. You can have less, but whatever number you have, you really want to have a third of those core values based on your personal core values as the owner. Because look, it's your business. Now, if you've got partners, then you need to sit down and come up with your core values. So a third of your business core values have to be based on your personal core values. The other third of the core values should be based around your team core values. Now, if you don't have a team and you're a one-person band, okay, then you can use that third for your own personal core values as well. Okay, and then the last third of your core values should be based on the core values to give your customer a positive experience. Okay, so what are those core values? Now, look, the reason why these are important is because, look, if you are following your core values and you're indoctrinating these as part of your brand promise, then it's so much easier for you to feel good on a daily basis about what you're doing. You're feeling on purpose, you're being true to yourself, you're being true to others, and you're being natural. It's so easy to do business when you've just got to be you and you're not pretending to be someone else. Not only that, look, if you're trying to be fake and you're trying to copy someone, people soon pick up on that. They realize you're not authentic, you're not real. And we all know what that's like. We can all tell people that are being fake. Okay, so, let's not go there. Let's set yourself up for a solid, authentic relationship in business by coming up with some solid core values in your business. The third point there, determine how you conduct marketing, sales, and customer service activities based on your brand promise. So take the one example you got there today, and I want you to think, how do you apply that through your marketing? How do you put that through your marketing? Now, if you're a bit lost with that, then send me an email and I can reply to you about it. What about your sales process, your sales system? Now, look, do you have your sales process mapped out? Have you manufactured and designed your your sales process so that it actually incorporates the one key trait you're talking in your brand promise today? Have you even mapped out your sales process? No. What about your customer services activities? Once people buy from you, what's the systematic consistency you have in there? What core values and brand promise do you have in there? So in those processes there. Now, an example for that is, if you like having fun, if that's an important brand promise to you in your business, which is a very admirable thing to have in business. We want to be having a lot of fun. So how do you have fun with your customers? How do you introduce fun to your customers on every time you touch them, or, with the marketing you're doing with them, or the follow-up, or, are you saying thank you to them in fun ways? Are you having fun ways of asking them for testimonials or referrals? What are you doing there as far as that fun brand promise? There's a number of different things you can do there as an example to get you thinking about that. Same thing with your marketing. How are you having fun with your marketing? If that's an important thing, how are you having fun in your sales processes? And, it's very important for you to think of ways to induct those core values into these aspects of your business. Now, your brand, how are you adding flavor to your Facebook posts, your emails, your website, et cetera, et cetera? Now, I've talked about that. So, those things are part of your imagery, but it can be so much more as well. If you've got videos, you've got audio, you're doing podcasts, excuse me, this webinar today, it's going to be transformed into some audios as well, because some people can download them onto their MP3s or phones and listen to them while they're in the train or whatever they're doing if they haven't got a video player, as an example. So, there's things there you can do. Use that brand promise, the one you've come up with this week as well, to drive the way you act and behave at all levels. So review that. So, how are you having fun on a daily basis of that in this example? How are you doing that as far as your behavior goes? So that's part of your homework to complete those. So I just want to go into this a bit more detail. So look, how do you write your compelling story about your business? Sorry, team, I've lost my slide there. Let me just go back. Okay, moving on. So, right, so further aspects of your branding to consider. So, what's on your website? Is it features about what you do or benefits you supply to your customers? Now, how does that affect your branding? So, you want to look at that in all different aspects of it. Is it real or is it fake? Is it corporate jargon or is it, authentic stuff that you do as your business? Have you incorporated the core values, your brand promise, into what's the stuff on your website if you have one? These are just things for you to consider. Okay, I want you to review those and come up with a list of things. Your social media activity, if any. Are you doing social media activity? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Pinterest? Are you on Instagram? Are you using any of these things? You might be doing something. You might be doing. Are you on YouTube? Do you have videos on YouTube as a search? Okay, so how do you mix it up? And when I say that, as far as your branding, look, about 20% of the material on your social media channels should be pitching for business. The other 80% of it should be interesting things. So, you might be sharing lead generation things there as an example. You might be offering them sharing, novel experiences. You might be, as an example, on my Libberbun page today, I shared the latest Air New Zealand flight safety video that's coming out, and I've make it real lighthearted and introduce some humor into it. It's just fantastic video, and it's a great marketing tool as well. So, Air New Zealand's had over 100 million views of those videos, their flight safety videos. So they've turned something that's traditionally boring on the aircraft, a flight safety video, into a bit of fun and lighthearted. And if it's put a smile on your face before you've even taken off, what a fantastic thing to do. So, and I've shared that on my social media channel. You can ask questions, you can share your own experiences. And, how are you talking about you and your team on your social media channels? That's all part of your brand. People want to know who you are and what your team are doing, and want to see that they're dealing with real people, not fake companies. So, it's just one way of mixing that up. So ask yourself that question. How are you doing this stuff? How reliable are you to contact your leads quickly? So this is part of your branding. So look, if someone contacts you and you don't follow them up for 2 weeks, well, what sort of brand experience are you giving them? Okay, so now, as an example, all my marketing, sales, and customer services stuff is done through Infusionsoft. So I am a Infusionsoft certified partner. I have my own Infusionsoft app, and I use it, religiously. So, now whenever I get new leads or people inquire about things, I get a task set up on my calendar, and I get notified via email and text that, Joe Bloggs has filled out a form, or asked for an appointment or made an inquiry. And I've got, literally 48 hours to get back to them. Okay, or I get another reminder and a verbal kick up the backside. Hey, why haven't you done this? And, now that's up to me. I'm taking ownership there because I'm sticking, I've got to do this. So, and it's about giving people that good experience. So, how reliable are you at contacting leads? especially if you're doing any form of networking or people give you referrals. If someone gives you a referral and you don't follow that person up, then, the person that's been referred to you up, then the referrer is going to lose confidence in you. It's going to damage your brand, not just with the person that's been referred to you, but the referrer as well. It's obvious. So how do you do this with systematic consistency? Going back to Mr. Warren Buffett's statement, it doesn't take extraordinary things to get extraordinary results. You've just got to do it with systematic consistency. So, do you have a systematic sales process to give everyone a similar and consistent experience? Now, it's not just the sales process. As I said before, it's the marketing systems. It's your customer services systems as well. Expand it into those areas as well. How are you doing that? Have you mapped out those experiences and you understand how you deliver that consistently with everyone? By the way, if you're not using some form of CRM system, even if it's not Infusionsoft, if you're not using other ones that are out there, as a small business owner, I would say that you're not giving your business 100%. Okay, look, Infusionsoft, as an example, starts from about $90 a month. Now, if you set that up correctly, and I can help you set that up correctly as an example, you would get that return on a monthly basis easily, even in save time and enhance productivity by making sure every lead that come through and the leads you were generating were getting some form of communication from you, and you're being tasked to follow up, so it helps you with your processes alone. So how do you treat your current customers? So let me ask you some questions. So you've got your existing customers, and, whether they're buying from you every now and again, or you're getting a monthly subscription from them, or they're paying you monthly for some sort of service you're doing, how are you thanking them for their business? Do you, every time they pay their invoice for you, how do you thank them? Do you send them a card? Do you send them an email saying thank you? I mean, do you go back to them, a few days or a few weeks afterwards to see if everything's okay still? How have you checked that? These are things you can all automate. Have you done a questionnaire with them at some stage and asked for feedback? And when you get positive feedback, have you systemized the ability for you to actually ask for testimonials or reviews on your social media channel, or, asking them for referrals as well? It's okay to ask for referrals. If you ask for referrals, people will give you them. That doesn't always work, but, if you're not asking for referrals, then you're less likely to get them. So, and you can systemize that with certain aspects of your business. So there's things you can do there as part of your brand. This is all part of your branding. If people see that you're a slick, efficient, thorough, brand based around your core values, whether it's fun and, integrity and honesty and, all those sort of things, whatever they are to you, then you're real about that and you're authentic about it, you're going to have a thriving business, and it's going to help you systemize your business and take back control and, really grow the company to the stage you want it. It doesn't matter whether it's a lifestyle business you want to grow to have a much bigger team and outsource stuff. It's up to you. Right. So here's another question about your branding. So how does your business look aesthetically? So is it clean? Is it crisp? Are your vehicles clean? Is your building clean? Whether you work from home or you have a home office, so are you clean? Do you look immaculate when you go out? Do you take pride in what you do? Is your vehicles always clean? So if you're a trades company, are your vehicles always clean there? Do you have any form of uniform or uniformity? So as an example, when I go out in the public, I'm always wearing a suit and a nice shirt. I don't like wearing ties these days. I don't feel the need to do that. Okay, I'm dealing with small business owners. Now, I do dress down that sometimes when I'm going to see e.g. if I'm going to see mechanical sort of businesses where they're the old grease monkeys, they've typically got stuff everywhere and it's quite more relaxed, and I will dress down more in line with what they are. I won't turn up in overalls, obviously, but, it is dressing down. So just thinking about your branding and how you're coming across with. Do you have a name tag? Or at least so people know your names. Have some sort of name tag or something there too. Do you have name tags in your business? Some do, some don't. So how are you looking aesthetically to your customer? Now, the material you're presenting to them, you send them PDFs or brochures or whatever you're doing. Does that material look good? Have you got a good logo? Have you got a nice spiel for your business? So, what's the catchphrase you have? So there's all these sort of things you've got to be doing. Sorry, I just had a bit of a mind blank there, team. Right. So there's plenty of things there for you to talk about with your small business branding and how to improve those. So I want you, for your homework, to I'm going to send you not only a copy of the slides today, but also I want you to read 2 articles. Now, look, these articles are only 2 pages each. Okay, so it's going to be one attachment sent to you with 2 articles included in that attachment. Okay, so, and the first one is 3 branding myths that will hurt your business, and the second one is 5 ways to hurt the growth of your own personal brand. So I want to read up on those and just check to see whether you're doing those. But for today, what I want you to do is really just a few takeaways and things for you to review after the webinar today. So the first one is having a healthy personal brand is one of the best ways to make a successful small business, to maintain one. Okay, so now you've got to get to that stage, and then you've got to keep maintaining. Now remember, your brand is either growing or dying. It never stays still. Okay, so having that healthy personal brand is very, very important. Secondly, to ensure your brand's continued strength, you have to take steps to protect it, plan and review your brand building. Excuse me. Now look, I, as a coach, I require all my clients, and I encourage you as well, to adopt a business planning system in your business. Now, when I'm saying that, I'm not talking about these big strategic business plans that corporates have or even larger businesses have. You can have a 1-page quarterly plan. Now, I have a plan system. I have another webinar, which is about a business planning system for small businesses. It revolves around an annual plan. So, and you break that annual plan down to 4 quarterly plans or 3 trimester plans. Okay, so they're either 90-day plans or 120-day plans. And out of those, drop your monthly plan and then your weekly plan. Now, you're going to be working on certain things where you're going to be developing things on your business. Now, in all those plans, there is always some form of strategy working on developing your branding. Okay, because you've got to protect that with your life pretty much, because if your brand is negative, you're dead in the water as far as the business goes. You're going to find it very difficult. So it's very important to plan the development and how you're going to maintain your branding. Okay, the third point here, be sure to plan for unexpected industry downturns whilst nourishing relationships with customers. Now, look, there's 2 aspects to that. The first one, Now, think about economic downturns. Okay, so the GFC and other things. We go through these economic cycles every 7 to 12 years. So think about how you're going to, keep protecting and building your brand in an economic downturn. But also the second one here we're talking about is you might have a seasonal business. Okay, where you do have downturns on a certain amount of seasonality. So whether it's based around the climate, around the seasons, the summer, winter, autumn, spring, or some other thing, whether it's a tourist year or whatever it is for you. So think about that and how you can plan and build your brand in unexpected industry downturns. Okay, so there's things there. And again, if you want some ideas on that, fire us an email or whatever, and I can come back to you on it. Fourth point here is remember you are the best salesperson for your brand, and business is closed by both your words and your actions or your non-actions. Okay, now when I say that, as the owner of a business, you are the best salesperson in your business. Look, no one else is going to be as passionate about your business as you are. That doesn't mean your team aren't passionate about your business, because hopefully they are. Okay, and you might have a better salesperson within your business who gets better results than you. However, look, as a small business owner, most people know who the owners are of small businesses, and you are that best salesperson. Okay, people look up to the business owner. They respect the business owner typically, as long as you're a decent person, you're real, you're authentic. Okay, so now just be aware of that. And it's don't expect people to be better than you. It's okay to expect excellence, or as passionate about you. It very, very rarely happens. It does sometimes, but it doesn't normally happen. Last point here is, look, do not dwell on any negative thoughts, as they serve to undermine you and create potential roadblocks to your success. So remember I talked about being above and below the line. Look, we all have tough times. We all have negative thoughts at times. Kick that little devil off your shoulder, which is your negative thinking, and get yourself back above the line and get into some positive thinking. So now that's working on your mindset. And now think about, what sort of experience do your customers and prospects want to have with you? They don't want to speak to a negative person. And this is such an important thing, to have a positive attitude and deal with people. Now, I don't want to teach you to suck eggs on that, but it's a clear thing you want to get rid of. Get rid of those negative thoughts. Okay, so look, just finalising last few slides here, quoting Warren Buffett. It's not necessary to do extraordinary things to get extraordinary results, but you do want to do your branding. If you do your branding with systematic consistency, even if after today you go out and just change one thing and get more systematic about how you do that, then that's going to help you improve your branding in your business. Okay, but I want you to come up with a list of things after today that you can work on and start looking to develop those with systematic consistency. And if you'd like to find out from me how Infusionsoft can help you do that, you can go to my website, liveabundant.com/Infusionsoft. Look at the tab there, Infusionsoft. Go down there and do the demo and have a look at those, and book an appointment with me to run through a little live demo with you about how it can do that. I'll be more than happy to do that with you. So finally, who would like a copy of my slides? Well, look, I'm going to send you a copy of the slides anyway after today. I want to ask you for my branding to do two things. If you'd like the seminar today, if you're on Facebook, go to my Liveabund page, liveabund.com, Liveabund Business Angels it is. Look it up on Facebook and give us a review on there about the webinar today. And obviously a 5-star review would be great, thank you. But make some comments from there. If you're on LinkedIn, hook up with me on LinkedIn and give us a review on LinkedIn as well. That'd be fantastic. And also the other thing I want you to do after today is also register your seat for the next workshop now, which is on Wednesday, the 9th of August. The next one in August is around lead pages, why we need them and how to use them. Okay, so it's a fundamental thing on system. This again is an extension to your branding. Okay, so but it's a specific thing on lead pages team around that aspect. Okay, so that's us. That's the webinar today. I hope you've enjoyed that. It's been my pleasure to actually present that to you. Again, if you have any questions, type them in the box there or come back to me via email, and I'll be interested in your thoughts on the webinar today. Thanks, guys. When you get please do complete your homework. I'd love to hear the 2 or 3 things that you plan to change in your business as a result of the branding exercise we've done today. Have a fantastic and profitable day. Why would you choose to make it anything else? Cheers, guys.